This is 40K Today, the show with more big guns than a Castellan Knight, that hits harder than a Smash Captain, and that's quicker than a White Scars biker, in a good way.
Hello and welcome to 40K Today. This is your daily 15-minute news and interview show that covers the entire hobby of Warhammer 40,000. We get competitive on the tabletop, we paint and kit bash with the best in the business, we find hobby tips, and we meet the most amazing people in the all-around awesome community. Today is Monday, the 20th of July, and on the show, we talk to TFG Radio's Adam Solis and Snipe and Wib. First up, though, we have a poll question live on our Facebook page. Let's get to it. Our 40K Today poll question of the week is a fun one. How do you feel your favorite faction fared with the recent point changes in 9th edition? Make sure you come to the 40K Today Facebook page and sound off. We'd love to hear your opinion. Snipe and Wib have a really fun and entertaining YouTube channel. They do a lot of great segments, but one of my favorites is Codex Compliant, where they dig into old edition codexes and talk about lore and other fun stuff from back in the day. It's a great reminder of what's come before.
I am here today with Snipe and Wib. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And you guys are YouTubers who make awesome nerdy content. So thank you so much for being on the show.
No, thank you for having us. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe we'd start with you guys telling our listeners a little bit about how you came to find the Warhammer 40K hobby.
Oh, well, yeah, we have slightly different origin stories. For me, it was just simply a friend of mine was into it when I was at secondary school, which is, I would have been about 13. Let's say 13. Around that sort of time, around third edition's beginning, and he kind of like was like, oh, this thing, and then I got into it, and then everyone I knew stopped playing it, and then I stopped playing it. But yeah,
I was looking at we've been living together for a good while, and I was looking at 40K cosplay, and I was like, hey, Wib, this stuff's really cool. And he was like, I have a box of little like Space Marine dudes, and I was like, I'm listening. And now we run Codex Compliant, and that's just what we do now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and Codex Compliant is one of my favorite segments of your show. I'm relatively new to the hobby. I came in at the end of 7th, and I just love seeing like all the old codexes and stuff that you guys sort of unearth from wherever you get them from. But how did that segment come to be?
oh, that was entirely Wib's creation. I'm just sitting there going, I think we should rate Space Marines' butts. And he's like the actual, like, serious like, investigator. I just come in and I write stupid jokes.
Yeah, basically what happened was it was when 8th edition started. We did a couple of videos based on Rogue Trader, the first edition of 40K, just because we thought that'd be a fun thing to do. It was like the weird and wonderful things from that era, because if you've ever looked at the first edition of 40K, it's utter nonsense. It's ridiculous.
It's the best kind of nonsense.
Everything is like a cheesy reference to something, and it's all tongue in cheek.
I firmly believe that you popularize the knowledge of the character Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau, who is an Inquisitor from like Rogue Trader. I mean, that gives you a fantastic kind of example of just how bananas old 40K was.
But we our channel like quadrupled in size after we put out that video, the first video of that, and we thought that we're obviously onto something. So we're kind of thinking of things to do, and it was like, well, I've got a bunch of old codexes from when I was, from when I first started playing. And these things are pushing 20 years old now, so that could be a fun thing to look at that, because I generally go by the idea that if you think something's interesting, other people will find it interesting if you make a video on it, because you will find that niche.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we gave it a shot and did the first one on Codex Assassins was the first one, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's been a while now.
It's a few years now. Yeah, we did that, and and it turned out people liked it, and obviously the series expanded to cover more things. But yeah, that's sort of where it came from.
Yeah.
Some of these videos are super in depth and like pull in other resources other than the codex, but how much research goes into making these videos?
It depends.
I'd say if you want to average it out, probably a really unhealthy amount.
Yes. Some of them are really simple. Some codexes you just read them, and we both go through them and like note off what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And so that'll obviously involve like, oh, we need to go and check this other codex or this old bit of lore from this old book, and we'll go and do that. But some, like the one on Armorcast, the old resin producers that did licensed Warhammer stuff. Mostly, I think it was all 40k. I don't think they did any fantasy stuff. I'm very well knowledgeable about this stuff when I have a script.
That's the thing, isn't it?
All falls out my head the moment I'm not doing that. But that took a long time because I was digging through like Usenet and things like that to find the information.
Because a lot of the actual like I don't know what you'd say like official information was just impossible to get hold of. A lot of it was hearsay from old forum posts and well, forum posts at the best of times aren't particularly reliable. So it's just kind of like weeding out like, okay, so what seems to be the vague agreed upon thing?
Sometimes you just have to kind of average it out. And sometimes the research is just simply going, oh, I don't know when this thing came out. Well, time to look through an entire year's worth of White Dwarf and find out which one it came out in, you know.
Very glamorous,
yeah. Okay, so one last question before I let you go. What is your favorite piece of information or like your favorite character or like your favorite weird thing that you found from deep diving through these old codexes and things?
Oh,
that's a tricky one.
That's a good question.
I'd say like it swings and roundabouts. So like I tend to have like a new favorite every time I pick up a codex. So like the last one we did, like the Necron Codex, was it 3rd edition?
Yeah, the first
third edition Necron Codex. And I love that that codex is amazing. I mean, like there's a story in there about a bunch of Imperials just fighting some oncoming Necrons, and it's just it's so eldritch and spooky and horror, and I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. I very much like this. To the point where I was kind of like, and it only took until like in the last few years to think of doing Warhammer horror. Okay, it's like, but the Necrons, like, you know, old Necrons at least, were just like so perfect for that kind of spookiness. So that's probably off the top of my head my favorite, like right now at least.
Yeah, for me, it's honestly my favorite bits of information are all just the real oddities that you kind of stumble upon, like or the things that disprove like a commonly held belief. For good example, we did a one on Warhammer Records, and it is the commonly held belief that Bolt Thrower released albums on Warhammer Records, but they didn't at all. They were on Earache Records. It's just they licensed the use of artwork from GW, but they didn't actually. We're never on Warhammer Records. But so it's really interesting to dig into those things and find those little bits of things that everyone thinks are true, but they're actually not.
Like the Little Sisters of Purification.
Yeah, that weren't Games Workshop at all.
They were Game Designers Workshop instead of, you know.
Oh, wow.
And after we did that, I'd like to think, if I can be as arrogant as that, like people going, oh, well, they used to have lady sisters, lady Space Marines, and then someone will come in and go, actually, that was Game Designers Workshop. And I'm like, I kind of hope that we helped a bit with that. We helped people, well, actually, other people on Reddit. And you know what?
Yeah,
I can retire.
To be perfectly honest, if our legacy is one thing, I hope it's not enabling people to well act.
Don't be that guy, listeners. Don't be the well actually guy.
No one likes that guy.
No. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show, you guys.
No, thank you so much for having us. It's been awesome hanging out.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Thank you.
Snipe and Wib's humor is infectious, and you should definitely go check them out. Links are in the show notes, as always.
Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org.
Welcome back. Adam Solis has been doing the TFG Radio podcast for a very long time. We get together to talk about 9th edition, what TFG Radio is up to, and future plans for their content.
Adam, welcome back to the show. We're super excited to have you. I don't know about you, but I am super duper pumped for 9th edition. How are you guys feeling about it?
We're feeling good. Actually, I know I am. Well, first off, happy to be back on. Second, I'm actually after seeing the rules, the core rules anyway, I'm pretty excited about the direction the game's going right now.
Yep, and now we're starting to see some points, and missions are coming out next week, I hear.
Yes.
And then we'll have a much better picture, right? So do you guys have any plans over at TFG Radio for 9th edition? Like, what are you guys doing over there?
Right now, we actually have two armies that we're building for 9th edition. One is Necrons, obviously, like everyone else. And then the other one is a Eldar army, more of a Wraithguard army, because I just happened to get some on sale. Someone was getting out of the hobby, so we decided to make that.
Actually, I think Wraithguard might be pretty relevant in the new edition because you need stuff that can stand on an objective for a turn.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right? Like, that's going to be very different. The new edition, you score at the beginning of your turn. So you've got to go through your entire opponent's turn, which is their shooting phase, their psychic phase, and their assault phase. So that's a lot of damage your guys got to survive, right?
Yeah. Having a bunch of T6 models, I believe they're 3 wounds, helps a lot.
Very cool. Very cool. So how long have you been doing TFG Radio?
I have been doing it now for about 5.5 years. 5.5 years. It just started as something we decided to do. Me and the previous host, Travis, who was my host at the time. After about 3 years, he kind of trailed off because life kind of happens. And that's when John, Salty John, as everyone knows him, kind of stepped up, and we're doing the Twitch broadcast now.
So 5.5 years, that's a lot of longevity, right? That is a lot of dedication. What keeps you guys going? Like, what is it that keeps you going for 5.5 years, making, quality content out there for people?
Well, that depends who you ask. But for me personally, I just love the game. I've been playing since 89, 90. And it first actually started with Adeptus Titanicus, the original, and then switched over to Rogue Trader / 2nd edition. And just the whole grimdark atmosphere, things like that, just keeps me going. And now with the Horus Heresy fleshed out essentially and coming to a close, it's just become more excitement for me personally. And I just love the whole kind of like the fallen angels type of aesthetic, because I am Roman Catholic, so that appeals to me.
That's amazing. Yeah, so it sounds like you have a little bit of a genesis, kind of like I did. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was a high school freshman in like 1989.
That's about the same.
And I got so hooked. I started painting miniatures, and we started painting with Tester's paints, right? And then we found, we found the coolest miniatures you have ever seen, right? And they were Warhammer miniatures. And then we found 40K, and then we found Epic, and we played the crap out of those all through high school. So it was great.
Yeah, I think going into the new edition, for me personally, I've never gotten bored of it, because I know a lot of people burn out. I've had lapses only because of life, not necessarily because I got tired of it or I got burnt out. For me, it's always been, I don't know why, it just always, even if it's a new edition, even if it's a new book, even if it's more of the same, it just still excites me. I can't really describe it. For me personally, I can't speak for everybody else on the show.
Yeah, I mean the game is good. So, how are things like? You said you're building a Necron army, right? And then what was the other army you're building?
The Eldar army.
The Eldar army, the Wraith. That's right.
And that's for the show. For me personally, I was hoping to build a Renegades and Heretics army, but as far as we can tell, they haven't been included in the points adjustments. So it leaves me a little worried. But I think I'm just gonna play them as Imperial Guard for now and hope for the best.
Yeah, so you're hoping to be able to play like a Hereticus guard army then, right?
Yeah, like a trader guard.
That would be really cool. And I keep waiting for them to do that, right? So here's the things I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for an Eldari Knights book, kind of like Imperial Knights.
Okay.
I'm waiting for Trader Guard, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And there was one other one that I wanted.
Squats.
That didn't Squats. That was it, actually. Yeah, actually, that I didn't think was too out of the realm of possibility. So maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get unsquatted, which would be cool.
Well, I mean, they have the test models from Forge World with the bounty hunters from Necromunda, and the Trader Guard have all those guard models and cultist models from Black Forge. Forget the Black Fortress.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
From Black Fortress. So they have the designs, so I don't see why they can't flesh them out a bit.
Yeah, they might. It's just one of those things. All it's going to have to take is somebody designing a really, really cool like squat model over at GW to get them excited and making more. And then, it'll take on. And then all we have to do is just buy them so that GW knows that they should make more of them. That's how that works.
Yeah. So for me, like I said before, things like the Trader Guard and the squats, possible squats, things like that is what keeps me going and keeps me invested in the game, at least, which is why, because the show used to be weekly for about 3 years, and then it switched because of John's schedule. It switched to every 2 weeks, which still works out. So, but for me personally, it's just the, I don't know. It's it's really just the background that keeps me going.
Well, very cool. Thanks again, Adam. We really appreciate having you on the show, and everybody should go check out TFG Radio. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Adam is one of the good guys. I appreciate everything he does for the hobby, including head judging at LVO. Okay, folks, let's get pumped for Model of the Day.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day, the model of the day.
Today, the Model of the Day is one of the new Primaris Outriders by Blackheart Wheat. I love these new models, and this is a great example of a Crimson Fist Outrider. Bright highlights and excellent use of transfers makes this biker pop. The model is completed with static graphs to make the base look amazing. Make sure you tag your photos with 40K Today like Blackheart we did here today to get us to notice your model, to feature it on the show. And if you find another model that you think should be featured, hit us up on Facebook. We respond to messages all the time, and we're happy to find really cool models for Model of the Day. And that's it for today. A big thanks to our content producer, Alex Painter, our amazing social media Wonder Woman, Tanya Gates, and our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, for all their hard work once again in putting the program together. If you like the show and would like to help us out, we'd love it if you left us a review. Those reviews help people find the show, and we're extremely grateful for everyone. Until the next time, for the 40K Today team, I'm John Damaris, and that's what's happening in 40K Today.